Let's take a look at 4 different types of fronts. Remember that cold air is very dense and tends to sink. Warm air is less dense and tends to rise. As you have that rapidly moving cold air and it runs into slow-moving warm air, that dense cold air slides under the lighter warm air and pushes the warm air upward. This is what happens in a cold front. Cold fronts are generally described using a series of triangles. They're blue. Blue symbolizes the cold, and the triangles are always pointed in the direction that the front is moving. So if the front is moving to the southeast, that's the direction that the triangles will be pointed. Cold fronts usually indicate clouds, rain, snow, thunderstorms. But the good thing about a cold front is that the sky clears very quickly and new weather moves in. They don't hang around for a long time. The next type of front that we're going to talk about is when you have that warm air mass overtaking a slow-moving cold air mass. Because the cold air is denser, the warm air moves over the cold air. It looks something like this. The cold air is represented in a triangle because it's just kind of a long, slow system. When we have our warm fronts, they're represented by half circles, colored red, red for the heat, and I always think the half circles makes it look like a sunshine is coming up over the horizon, which in my mind helps me remember that that's your warm front. When you have a warm front, if the air is really humid, it's going to bring rain and snow, long and continuous, might be several days. If the air is dry, it's just going to bring us scattered clouds. Now, these are going to bring and be followed by warm weather. By warm, I mean warm relatively to what type of weather you were having. So if it was 19 degrees and you were having snow, warm might possibly mean that the next few days are in the 20s. The next type of front that we're going to talk about are stationary fronts. This is when 2 fronts face each other in kind of like a standoff. Stationary fronts are where the warm and cold air masses meet, but neither can move the other. Think about a stationary bicycle. You can pedal and pedal and pedal, but you never get anywhere. A stationary front is shown by alternating red half circles and blue triangles. And you can see in this diagram where the cold air meets the warm air. In a stationary front, when the warm and cold air meet, the water vapor in the warm air condenses into rain or snow or fog or clouds. The thing about a stationary front is that if it remains stalled over an area, it could bring days of clouds and precipitation, sort of like what we've been having here. A stationary front also is how sometimes areas out west get dumped on with 6 feet of snow. They meet, neither air mass can move the other, and that weather just continues. The last type of front is an occluded front. This is the most complex kind of situation. This is where warm air actually gets caught between 2 cooler air masses, and you can see this in the picture. That denser cool air moves underneath the less dense warm air, and they push the warm air upward. The 2 cooler air masses meet in the middle, and this is where they mix. This is where the occluded part comes in. The temperature near the ground actually becomes cooler because the warm air mass is occluded or cut off from the ground. As the warm air cools and its water vapor condenses, this is what might bring some cloudy rain or snow to fall. After an occluded front passes, you'll have cool, clear weather. The next thing that we're going to talk about are pressures. You may notice sometimes on weather maps that you'll see capital H's and capital L's indicating high and low pressure systems. High and low pressure systems are just where the air in that area sinks down. As it nears the ground, it spreads out towards areas of low pressure. And these are usually large systems, and they change very slowly. This usually causes rainy weather. It usually causes dry, clear weather.